Okay, so we're going to start off with the song or an intro? I forgot how we do this.
I love your guys' song, by the way.
Oh,
it's
thank
a really
you.
cool song.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Dropping Daisies gave it to us,
Yeah.
and they turned around with that really quick.
Sounds so professional.
Well, let's play it.
Kenosha, that great big busy town, right in the middle of the USA, between the New York Harbor and the San Francisco Bay. Well, the wonderful East, the beautiful West, that's the right place to be from. Sing it so loud and make the cousin so proud and make Kenosha my hometown. Give me a beer.
Welcome to Ktown Connects. We are celebrating Kenosha, Wisconsin, the most southeastern location in all of Wisconsin. Each of our episodes, me, the host Donny, and
Me, Jason.
talk to someone from our hometown of Kenosha to find out what makes them such a great Kenoshan.
That's a little better.
Yeah, should I do it again?
No, that's fine.
Okay. So today, let's do a little small talk and we'll get into the guest.
Small talk?
Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
Well, keep your pants on.
It's hard. It's hot in here, especially with these two beautiful men in here.
Weird times in Kenosha.
Yeah, I mean, it's very scary what's going on out there right now.
Very weird,
But,
very weird.
We're here. We're doing a podcast to maybe put a smile on some people's faces who listen to this.
And who do we have on the show today?
Today we have Jake Howe.
It's Jake Hoey.
Jake. Oh, shit.
Rhymes with boy.
Jake Hoy. I told you I was going to butcher that. Jake Hoy. We have Jake
So who
Hoy.
do we have? So who do we have on the show today, Donnie?
We have Jake Hoy. He is a freelance Fuck, I told you I was going to butcher that.
You could say weatherman.
Meteorologist. Jake Hoy, a freelance holy fuck. This is going to be a great episode. Meteorologist.
Or you could say weatherman.
Okay, here.
Or
We have
weather
Jake
expert.
Howe, the weather expert.
Hoy.
Hoy. Jake Hoy. Why do I keep doing that? Jake Hoy. We have Jake Hoy, a weatherman from Kenosha. Do you know who he is?
Of course I know Jake. He's has Jake's area weather Jake's Kenosha weather page. Is that what it's
Very
called?
close.
Very close. What is it?
Kenosha area.
Okay, I knew area was in there somewhere.
The Kenosha area weather page, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I got to rename that one of these days. It's very clunky.
Well,
but-
it just rolls off the tip of my tongue, just like that whole intro did.
I find it depicts what I cover accurately, but not exactly great marketing.
Well, yeah, I mean, besides whether you're also interested in travel, you're a blogger at haptoit.com.
Oh, yeah.
You're an avid Kingfish fan, and you also work for Visit Kenosha. So
That's
you
right.
do it all. You really do.
I'm a busy guy.
Busy guy. So Jake, you weren't born in Kenosha, were you?
I was.
Oh, you were.
Born
Okay,
in-
I'm getting you confused with my other guests. So tell us about growing up in Kenosha. What neighborhood you grew up in and your schools and stuff.
I went to, I grew up on 75th Street and 10th Avenue. I don't know what you call that neighborhood, sort of near Southport. Right across the street from Southport School, in fact.
Okay.
I didn't go there, though. I ended up going to St. Mark's, which is not, just a little ways away. Now I think it's called something different, but I went
Something
to...
different?
Well,
not,
that's downtown.
not something different. I think it may be St. Joe's or something now. I'm not entirely sure.
Catholic, huh?
I'm not Catholic.
Oh.
So the story that I tell people is the only reason I went there is because at the time, Southport, the local elementary school, didn't offer all-day kindergarten. And
Oh.
both my parents worked and didn't want to have to deal with me for half a day. So they sent me to the Catholic school that had full-day kindergarten.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
Hey.
and then they just stuck with me there until I ended up going to St. Joe's for middle school, technically junior high school. And then I stayed there. I left in 8th grade, after 8th grade, and I went to Tremper for high school.
Okay. When did you chase your first tornado?
That was when I went to college
Okay.
in Oklahoma. Fun fact, not fun fact, I don't know why I said that. My senior year of high school, we had a lot of the locals will remember in 2008 in January, there was a tornado in Kenosha County. In fact, two. There was one out by Wheatland that was rated an EF3 and one on the north side of Kenosha that was rated an EF1. And I didn't chase that one, but that's like very vivid in my memory of storms. It was as I knew I was going to meteorology school at the time. I knew I was going to the University of Oklahoma, and So I don't count that as chasing my first tornado. I would say the following spring of 2009, in February, I went on a storm chase that was unsuccessful and did not see a tornado until April of that same spring. And
So that's 2008. That was the one that took out the supposedly destroyed Tacos El Rey.
That's what I've
Kenosha
heard.
News reported that.
yeah. And
they're fine.
that was an EF1, so it's not that strong all in all. But the one out in Wheatland was EF3, which is very strong. It might be the strongest tornado in Kenosha County in the last 20 years or something like that. I don't have the data in front of me. But,
Yeah. How high do the levels go for tornadoes?
it goes up from EF0 to EF5.
Okay.
And it used to be called F5 and, F0, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
It's the Fujita scale, named after Ted Fujita, a famous
Oh.
meteorologist.
Wow.
Invented the scale. And but they recently changed it slightly and fine-tuned it to account for wind speeds better, and they renamed it the Enhanced Fujita Scale, EF. So EF0 to EF5. EF5 is the worst.
Wow. So you seem pretty knowledgeable on this. Why are you in Kenosha, not like working at a network somewhere doing
Yeah,
the
why aren't you
weather?
on NBC or
You
something?
got to ask them about that. So after I graduated, I went to the University of Oklahoma School of Meteorology. It's considered one of the best meteorology schools in the country, not to toot my own horn. It just is a fact.
Okay.
The Storm Prediction Center is there on campus, the National Sphere Storms Lab. It's a big hub for meteorology in Norman, Oklahoma.
And tornadoes too.
And
Huh?
tornadoes. It goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
And I graduated. I decided I did not want to go to grad school. I was just kind of done with school. I always wanted to be working for the National Weather Service. That's was my goal, what I always wanted. And I got out of school and I applied for those jobs, and I didn't even get close.
Aw.
There were people with master's degrees that were applying for the same job,
Oh.
and then they ended up losing out to the guys with doctorates.
Ooh.
And it's like, I'm not even like second runner up. I'm like not even close.
Wow.
They get my form and they throw it in the trash. And it was
Yeah.
very disheartening to me. I had moved back home here and was living with my parents, just working small jobs. And I started working at the Visitors Bureau. And then I made my weather page in 2013 as sort of a way for me to stay in. That was like right after I graduated,
Okay.
pretty much. And just to stay in the loop with meteorology and to make it seem like those 5 years were worth something.
Yeah. So you've had this page since 2013, you said, for 7 years now?
That's right. Well, 7 years in October.
Okay.
I have a date where I kind of celebrate my own little anniversary, and I think it's October 23rd. I
Ooh,
think.
that's coming up.
Yeah. So that'll be my 7 year.
And you've kind of exploded in the last couple of years.
It's strange. So I've had various things that have happened and that have just made it jump up, and I get a ton of followers, and then I get like 2 for over like a 4-month period. And then
Yeah.
I got something crazy, usually when a big weather event happens. So we had the derecho that came through a few weeks ago and did a lot of damage in Iowa and nearby. We had some tornadoes with that as well. And that day, people were just following my page like crazy,
Yeah.
because everybody was sharing stuff, and then they're saying, "Oh, I need to know." And I covered just Kenosha. That's kind of like my thing, my gimmick. I just cover the Kenosha area, and that's it. And
Well, it's Jake's Kenosha area weather page.
exactly. So I can kind of be just focused and not have to worry about what's going on in Madison or any other places. So
So when you put out your forecast, your 7-day forecast, and then you're completely wrong on one of them, do you hear it from some of your followers?
So I am my biggest critic. I know, like, oh boy, I blew that day. And but no, honestly, my followers are great. I think it has something to do with me having my name and my face on the weather page. It makes it more personable, even though I don't know most of these people. I have over 3,000 followers at this point. But I feel like I know them, and they feel like they know me. So very rarely do I get people like bad mouthing me or saying that, I
You
messed
ruined our
something up.
vacation day. We were out at the beach and it rained.
Far more often I hear, wow, you predicted that right, or we moved in, or I can do this because of this information. And it's heartwarming. So
It's almost like you're predicting the future.
it literally is.
Yeah.
I am predicting the future.
It's
we're
amazing.
the one. And so meteorologists famously get bad mouth.
Oh, yeah, you could just say, hey, I wish I had your job. I could be wrong 50% of the
Yeah.
time and still get a paycheck.
Right. We've heard that for decades at this point. And you just got to have a thick skin when you're a meteorologist, because we are literally predicting the future. And that's hard to do, believe it or not, even with all the tools we have at our disposal. And I always tell people, doctors lose patients, lawyers lose cases, we screw up forecasts. We're not the only profession that gets stuff wrong sometimes, you know?
What would you say the percentage that you get right? By me following your page for many years, you're like close to 90% accurate all the time, just from what I see. Is that pretty accurate?
I personally don't think so because I'm very strict for myself.
You see everything.
I see.
I said it was high as 70 and it only got to 69 today.
And another thing is, so with my 7-day forecast, I put those out every Thursday evening. I've done that for at least 6 years at this point. And that's kind of like I try really hard on that. That's my biggest effort every week is to put that out. It's a lot of work. And I put out low temperatures on that too.
Yeah.
And I feel like nobody pays attention to the low temperatures except in like January when they want to know, is it going to be 30 below? And so most of the time nobody pays attention to that. But like, man, if I wake up and I look and I see it was 58 for the low this morning and I said low 60s, oh man, I'm mad.
Just eat yourself up. Huh?
Yeah. So I would say probably not 90%. I would say
80?
I'd be lucky to get 70. Honestly.
Well, that's pretty good. It's
Yeah.
over the 50%, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. But I used to actually track my accuracy. There was a time where I was doing that and posting on my weather page. This was probably 5 years ago at this point, but it was just so much work.
Yeah,
And
science. Very time consuming.
that was before I had a full-time job, and now I do. So I struggle to have the opportunity to post as much as I did.
And like every Thursday, you pop up this really nice graphic showing your 7-day forecast. Do you have any experience with graphic design, or did someone help you with that, or what's?
No, I kind of developed that myself.
Okay.
So when I first rolled that out, I was doing like a Microsoft Word kind of document, and I would just pop in different graphics that I just stole from the internet. And then I had a friend of mine who I went to high school with who was an artist. She currently lives in California. Her name is Molly Flood. I asked her to design some graphics for me. And you'll notice that if you look at my forecast that there's little personalized graphics that have little Kenosha landmarks. Like on the cloudy days, it's got the streetcar driving by. On sunny days, the lighthouse is there.
Okay.
It's the
Kenosha icons.
I didn't know they
Yeah.
matched up with the weather. Like, I saw the graphics on there, but I didn't know they.
Well, I only have a set number of them.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to do snow in the forecast, then it's going to be that one photo with the light post because that's the only snow graphic I have. Same goes for sun. If it's sunny, it's going to be the lighthouse. So
Okay.
I can't swap them out. I mean, maybe I could, but I'm not a graphic designer. So
And then you've been writing blogs for haptoit.com.
yeah,
People can go see that. You've been doing it for a while, like a year or two now.
maybe not that long.
Okay.
I think Donnie convinced me to do that like maybe last winter, something like that.
Yeah, it's been.
But you got like at least a dozen columns on
Probably,
there,
yeah, and that's really fun to do. It's basically what I do on my weather page, except just longer form. I'll take, instead of just doing a quick post, I'll do a little bit more in depth. I really like examining the records, like how hot were we today? It's hot out, but did we break a record?
Yeah.
What is the record? And Kenosha is a really unusual climate here because we have Lake Michigan. When I lived in Oklahoma, it was totally different. There's just like the temperature in one city is pretty much the same as the other city, maybe a degree or two. But here it's like Kenosha's 78 and Burlington is 93 or something like that.
That's outrageous. to me.
And yeah, so it's really interesting to examine. And I have a lot of followers that are new to Kenosha and don't understand that it's cooler near the lake. So a lot of times I'll say, oh, it's cooler near the lake. And everybody else is like, yeah, duh, it's always cooler near the lake. But so-and-so that just moved to town didn't know that. So it's really interesting. And I love writing about it for happenings.
Yeah, we love having you on board for that. And you got a couple cover photos.
Oh,
recently.
that was so cool. Yeah.
You were famous.
The Brady Bunch cover was very cool. I was honored to be in the top left spot.
Only the best for you.
Is that
Jake.
the Mr. Brady
Yes,
spot?
Yes.
No, top left would be the oldest son.
Oh yeah,
Greg?
you're right, yeah.
Greg Brady.
Oh,
yeah.
Greg, you're Greg Brady.
Okay. I can't believe I remembered his name.
Yeah, me too.
For the record, I was born in 1990.
Wow.
What was the temperature when you were born? Have you ever looked that up?
I'm pretty sure it was hot because I was born in July, but I don't know the exact temperature. I think I remember seeing that it was in the 90s.
Ooh.
So yeah, but I'm not 100% sure.
I just recently had to look up the 10 hottest days in Kenosha. And I noticed that a lot of them, they've been spread out. And we talk about climate change, how things are getting hotter.
Yeah.
But you look at these top 10 dates, I wish I had them in front of me. It's been a while since I looked at them. But they're pretty spread out over the last 100 or so years. They started keeping records.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Do we want some drama here on the podcast?
Sure.
For the listens.
we
I
need
had some
something.
squabbles with that post that you had there, Jason.
Okay.
There was some inaccuracies there, unfortunately.
Was there?
So I think you probably got the data that was from the Kenosha, the old Kenosha weather site, which is by the water treatment plant by Southport Beach.
Okay.
And the newer one it's only been online since 1997 is at the Kenosha Airport.
All right.
And they actually recorded a high temperature of 106 degrees on July 5th of 2012, which stands as the hottest temperature ever recorded in Kenosha. But I don't know if you had that on that list there. So
yeah.
I don't want to start a fight or anything.
Well,
but,
I
Ooh, this is getting hot and heavy in here. I like this.
mostly hot.
well, I am not the meteorologist.
True. You mean weatherman?
That's a lot easier to say.
Yeah. Well, I apologize. For
No.
that
I'm
mistake.
totally,
no, that's great that
you were. It was mostly right. So, but
Well.
yeah, you're right that it's really spread out because those really hot days don't happen a lot here because we have Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
We don't get over 100 every year. We don't get over 90 every year. We had, since I started my weather page, I don't remember the exact year, but there was one summer where we didn't hit 90 at all the whole summer.
Yeah, that's outrageous.
Yeah, and it's very unusual. But, then since just the year before I started my weather page, 2012 was our hottest year on record, and we hit 100 like 5 times or something.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And it was a horrible drought that summer, too. So
Well, then climate change isn't just hot temperatures. It's
No.
it's extremes and things like that.
And a lot of the thing to me that I've really noticed in the last 2 years, let's say 2 or 3 years, is the incidence of very heavy precipitation in just a short amount of time. Remember when Washington Bowl flooded? And we had that, it was July of, I want to say, a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And we got like 9 inches of rain in like 2 days or something. And that's just an insane amount of rain. And we've had a lot of those incidences. Even this past spring, we had several of those where there was flooding. And that's, to me, is really a good sign that climate change is happening and real, because it
shouldn't be normal.
No, it's very unusual, and for the amount of them to be happening in such a short amount of time is what really strikes me. I can't say for sure that is a definite sign, but just based on my opinion.
Something doesn't seem right there.
Yeah.
Also, when we had Gretchen Cavalli on the show
Mm-hmm.
last week, we were talking about we were talking about gardening and things like that, how it seems like there's like almost a shift now that
Mm-hmm.
it seems like summer's coming later and staying later. Have you kind of noticed that with your studies?
Yeah, a lot of that has to do with Lake Michigan. I can't really comment on if that is a change or if it's always been that way. I'm not really sure. I don't have the data. That's my science background, is I can't make any claim unless I have data.
That's a good way to be.
But we do have Lake Michigan here, which so it takes a long time to heat up. So our May and June, the lake is still very cold from our winter. So even though we're getting more sunlight, and other places that wouldn't have a giant body of water next to it would be much more warm, we don't. We stay cool. We have that wind coming off the lake and it just cools everything down. Whereas in September, the lake is a lot warmer.
Yeah.
And in fact, I've heard people say that the highest lake water temperature is usually right around Labor Day. So you would think July would be the hottest, but
it takes that long for it to warm up.
It takes a long time for it to warm up because water has a very high specific heat capacity. And it just takes a lot of energy if you've ever tried to boil a cup of water, you see how long it takes, it's compared to other things, when you're cooking.
Yeah.
It just takes a lot of energy to get that water to change.
Well, but you can boil a cup of water quicker than you can boil a gallon of water.
Exactly. Think about that. And then think how many gallons are in Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But Lake Michigan's always been there. I'm seeing like a change where it seems to be shifting, though.
Yeah, I don't know for sure.
Is that my imagination? You don't know? You're kind of can't say?
I can't say, honestly.
Okay.
I don't want to say one way or the other. It's important for us to, as meteorologists, I should say, to be very clear about our confidence and our confidence. I don't know another word for it, but we don't want to give a false sense of intellect. So I'm always very conscious of that when I'm doing forecasts. I'm going to say I say probably instead of going to.
Yeah.
And
then you're covered.
Yeah, but it's not just a cop out for me. It's a way of me trying to communicate in fewer words how confident I am. And I'll say likely versus slight chance or something like that. That can kind of, I don't like using percentages. I'm going off on a tangent here.
No,
Sorry.
that's fine. Go ahead.
I don't like using percentages with rainfall. I find people get confused by it and they don't really know what 30% chance of rain means. Does that mean that 30% of the days it would rain, or 30% of the day will be rain, or 30% of this area will see rain? People don't really know. Okay. And there is a right answer to that.
I think there's a 30% chance that it's going to rain at all.
Yes. It basically means if this exact situation were to happen 10 times, 3 of them would have rain.
Yeah.
And but it's complicated.
Yeah.
And I don't like using percentages. I'll use probable, slight, likely,
Okay.
and then I'll specify like scattered or isolated storms, pop-up showers, patchy, drizzle, that kind. I like using descriptive words more than numbers.
Nice.
Your own little lingo for being the weather guy.
I kind of
Yeah.
have. Like
Yeah.
you'll notice on my 7-day forecast that I don't use specific numbers for highs and lows. I'll say upper 70s or lower 70s, near 70.
Do you talk like that when you're not talking weather? Is it just kind of switches over to your?
Yeah, I probably like my grandpa's in his upper 60s or something like that. But
Can I get a somewhat large pizza?
yeah, it's a likely chance that I'm going to want a big pizza.
So let's get back to this storm chasing.
Yeah.
So what do? You pack a lunch and then you go out chasing a storm? Walk me through this.
Basically, it's a lot less organized than you think.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people would say, oh, did you have a class that would like go out storm chasing for field trips? And it's like, no. In fact, the university discourages storm chasing. It's dangerous, you know?
Yeah.
But really, it's just you got a couple of buddies and you are weather nerds, so you know that next Tuesday it could be a good storm chasing day if we go up to Kansas and, you know.
Okay, I'm picking you up at 6 a.m. Get the beers and the sandwiches ready.
Usually you don't know. Sometimes even the night before, you don't know if you're going to go out the next day. Sometimes you're like, well, I'll see what the morning models say.
Yeah.
And then you wake up at 8 and you check the models and you go, yeah, I'm going to drive up to Hays, Kansas and just wait around and see what pops off. And it's 90% of it is very boring.
Is it kind of like fishing? I'm picturing it as fishing.
It's a little like fishing, yeah. I always compare to it as a road trip. And maybe at the end of it, there will be a tornado. But like most of it's driving. And that's the most dangerous part about storm chasing. People worry about the storms and stuff. And yeah, they're dangerous. But just the driving is by far the most dangerous thing. You know, accidents happen. And when you're driving very long distances and trying to race to get to a storm that's far away to see something happen.
As everybody else is trying to get away from it.
Yeah, there's a storm. Other people are kind of freaking out. And
I can tell you guys have never gone storm chasing in the Great Plains because it is just madness. There are entire tour companies that get like people from Germany and Australia to come over here because they all saw the movie Twister and they all want to do that same thing because that was great, you know? So it's madness. You get near a good storm in Oklahoma or that area where it's very big for storm chasing, which really has a lot to do with just the topography of it being relatively flat and having a good road system. That's why most people storm chase there.
Okay.
But you get on a good storm that's probably going to have a tornado and you got like just lines of cars and it's just really very dense.
See, I would be so
it.
scared.
No.
I would never do that.
There's thrill seekers and I can't, decry it because I was one of them, but yeah, so I started storm chasing in 2009 and really haven't storm chased since I graduated from college that much. I think I'm kind of over it. It's exciting and I'm glad I did it and I cherish those memories, but it's just a lot of nothing. And then and it's a lot of nothing if it's a successful storm chase.
Yeah.
If there's a pretty good chance you're going to go and nothing's going to happen. Yeah. We call those blue sky busts. Okay. We talk about lingo. We have storm chasing lingo. It's, oh my God, I could fill an hour of just storm chase jargon that's mostly just made up. It's not official meteorology stuff.
So it'd be like gibberish almost?
Oh boy. So, turkey tower, that's a thing that we used to say. So when you're watching a cumulus start to agitate, you'll see it start to rise and it'll form these little narrow towers and they call them turkey towers because they kind of look like the thing that hangs off the bottom of the turkey, but upside down. And I think that's why they call them that. I don't really know.
Just lingo.
You pick it up because you're storm chasing with somebody and they've gone it and they say, oh, check out these turkey towers over there. We should head south and that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's just you could probably Google it. There's just so much.
So was there ever a time when you were storm chasing you actually got really scared? Or
yes.
Okay, let's hear this.
I've had, and that's when you mess up. You don't want that. You can have a very successful storm chase without getting a drop of rain on you or anything, and you can have and that's ideal. But you want to see the storm, so you get closer and you get closer. So yeah, let's see. I have at least two that were like, I really regret what I did that day. I say I lost 2 of my 9 lives. One of them was in Alva, Oklahoma. This was early on in my storm chasing career. It's like my second ever storm chase. We got hit by the storm and we got stuck in the town of Alva, Oklahoma, which is a tiny town. And we took cover under this church like awning kind of thing because it was hailing like crazy. We got so much. That was the first time I saw baseball-sized hail that day. And then we looked at the radar, and we didn't think it was going to tornado. We thought it's a strong storm, but it's just a hailer. And we look, and it started wrapping up. And we're like, oh, God, no. And luckily, it didn't put down until about 5 miles outside of town. But if it would have gone down early, I don't know if I'd be here right now because we were in the wrong place. We were dumb kids. I was 18. So,
Just chasing storms.
Yeah. And then the other one was pretty late in my storm chasing career. We were in Jewell County, Kansas, and we had chased the day before, and that's a whole other story. I won't bother you with that one. But we were following my buddy's truck. He had a red truck. It was we had two vehicles that we were storm chasing with. It was me and my friend Kevin, and then Colt and Scott were in the other vehicle. We were following them, and we're like, oh boy, the storm's getting bad. We got to get out ahead of it. We got to race. So we were cruising down the highway, and it's getting worse and worse. It's catching up to us, and we're like, oh man, this sucks. And then we see the car, and it's like wind is going like crazy. It's like knocking roadsides down and stuff. And so it's hard to see, all the rain and wind. And we see the car pull into his driveway. And we're like, oh, we should follow them. They know what they're doing. So we follow them, and then they get out of the car and run into the house. And we're like, that's not Colton and Scott. And so we're like, what do we do now? And there were these big pine trees along the side of the driveway there. And I'm like, Kevin, we gotta get out of here. Those trees are gonna go down. And so we're backing up, and it was like dominoes. They're going down like as we're backing up. Oh man! And it was so scary. And we just kind of parked right near the mouth of the driveway where it meets the highway.
Did you have to change your pants after that?
No,
because I would have been. Oh my goodness.
No, but I was really worried that we were parked there, and we kind of rode it out. And I was really worried that the truck was going to flip over or something like that because it was hitting us from the side, and it was just not smart.
Did you have your seatbelts on while you're sitting there?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, because we were panicking. And that was actually a tornado. We were within the rotation of a tornado. We looked at the data, because the National Weather Service will do a survey of it the next day and say this began here and it tracked through here. It was this strong, it was this wide. And we looked, and we were like, yep, that's where we were when it happened. So we were in the tornado. Wow. So yeah, when people say, did you ever get hit by a tornado? I go, yeah, once, and I'm not happy about it.
I was inside one.
And so what level was that tornado?
It was a very weak one. That's the reason why I'm alive, is because that was I think it was an EF0 or EF1. But
it was still taking out
a tornado.
Trees and making you wet your pants pretty much.
The weakest tornado will still knock trees down.
Wow.
So
scary.
Yeah, it was scary. And that's not what you want. I've got many other stories of very successful storm chases where I wasn't in danger.
But those aren't fun.
Yeah. I always tell these stories.
I think we're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back with some more from Jake Hoey.
Ding, ding.
Ding, ding.
Welcome back to Ktown Connects.
That's a little too soft.
You're doing that late night radio, True Heart Connections.
Welcome back to Ktown Connects. We're here with Jake Hoey, weatherman galore.
He's still here. He was here a minute ago. He's still here.
I'm here.
You didn't leave us, did you?
Not yet.
All right, good. Well, we're going to do a little trivia, right?
No.
What are we doing now?
We're doing the random questions.
Ooh, random questions.
We need a better name for these.
Yeah,
Getting to know Jake.
Yeah. Connecting. Ktown Connecting with Jake.
Isn't that the whole show, though?
Yeah.
Connecting with Jake?
You need to work on that.
Yeah, let's figure that out.
You got any ideas? Email us at
ktownconnects@yahoo.com.
We didn't even thank our sponsor or...
Oh, well, you know what? Let's take this time to thank Stacy Anderson for Dakini Healing Arts for letting us record our Ktown Connects podcast here.
Yeah.
Looks like this might be one of our last ones here. We'll be moving on to our brand new studios shortly.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, let's
and what are we drinking tonight?
Jake, what do you have over there?
Oh, I've got a Ktown Brown from Public Brewery. One of my favorites.
Right.
That's a good place. And I am drinking a Tangerine Dream from Rustic Road, another great local brewery here in Kenosha.
But they didn't give these to us, did they?
I purchased them myself.
Yeah.
We're working on trying to get them to sponsor, so
hey, give us a 4-pack of beer each show.
But I did talk to the owner, Greg York, of Rustic Road, and he's agreed to be on the podcast as soon as we have a booking opening.
All right.
So that's going to look for that show in about 4 weeks.
Probably longer than that. But.
Yeah.
All right, Jake, so let's get to know you a little bit. You in Kenosha here.
Okay.
What's your favorite park in Kenosha?
Oh, boy. Favorite park.
We got a lot of them.
I'm gonna probably go Eichelman. It's not too far from where I live, and I like going down to the beach there. Sometimes it's not as crowded as Simmons Island. Oh boy, can I pick another one?
We'll let you.
Petrifying Springs.
Oh, yeah.
I really like going out there.
That's a fun time out there.
So that's so I was going to ask you if you are a beach person or a park or like a woods person.
I got both.
Yeah, I guess you do both. You kind of cover them both.
If I had
right
to
there.
pick, I'd probably go woods. I'm not a hot weather guy. I prefer it cooler, and so shady woods, but I would pick over a hot beach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good. How about your favorite museum in Kenosha? We got a bunch of them.
Ooh, I know you're a big museum fan.
It's tough for me because I know and I love all of them. We have 5 in Kenosha that I can think of. The History Center, the Southport Light Station Museum, the Public Museum, and the Civil War Museum, and the Dinosaur Discovery Museum.
Yeah.
Boy, that working at Visit Kenosha is really paid
You know
off.
what?
You
Yeah.
just rolled
Wonder
those
how
off
I
the
knew
tip
all
of your
those.
tongue.
Oh, if I had to pick a favorite, and again, I like them all. If I had to pick a favorite, I love the Kenosha History Center. I think
agree
it's so
with you.
fascinating seeing the old town Kenosha and the cars and all that.
There's Chris Allen calling him right now. Thanks for the plug.
Shout out to Chris.
So the big Kenosha debate: are you a big star or a spot guy?
Ooh.
Boy. Can I say both? I mean, I like them both for different reasons.
Yeah.
I think of them very separately. I think of Big Star as being the smaller burger, where I get like 2 or 3 of them,
Yeah.
and the Spot as being a bigger one, where I just get the one. If I had to pick, I was raised on the Spot.
Yeah.
I grew up in that area.
Oh, yeah, you're
and-
that side of town.
yeah, so that was what I remember my grandma taking me there and getting root beers.
What root beer do you like better though? Big Star.
Got to be
or
the Spot.
Okay.
That one I definitely think the Spot. But again, root beer at Big Star is great.
How about your favorite pizza place in
Oh
Man, these are hard.
Kenosha? I know.
Oh,
Man.
First thing popped in my head was Vallejo's.
Yeah.
I like Vallejo's, but I was raised on Villa de Carlo, Carl's Pizza, and that's what we had as a kid. So,
They have a great thin crust.
Yeah, they really do.
and I end up going to Kaiser's all the time now. So,
Kaiser's good.
boy, I'm copping out on all
well,
of
there's
these.
no shortage of great pizza in the Kenosha
No,
area.
not
There
at all.
really
And I don't think
isn't.
there's a wrong answer.
There is
I don't
no
think
wrong
there-
answer.
No, there's not. They're all great.
Let's say Pizza Hut or something.
Ugh.
Yeah, and then I think that you can have a great pizza or a lousy pizza from the same place. It depends on
That's true.
that day, who put it together, how it was
right.
cooked. It comes down to good sauce, good dough, but some days the dough is just not right. I've had like a pizza from a great place that I love, and it just didn't taste very good that day, but next week it was great.
Mhm,
So I think I can kind of go, but most time any old places are pretty good.
mhm.
So, what about your favorite place to see a band?
Oh man, I saw a good band at TG's a couple of weeks ago. That was nice. Kind of small in there, but first thing that popped in my head was Fusion. I know they're under new management and going to be reopening soon here. I think.
They were going to open this last weekend, but
Well, who knows? But
Yeah.
I think Fusion's great.
Yeah, that's a great place. To
The
see a
Brat
band.
Stop. I really like. They have a nice big stage there,
Yeah.
and that's a great venue too.
Cool. All right. Now, I know you're with Visit Kenosha. It might be kind of tough, but what's your favorite Kenosha summer event?
To me, this one is not that hard. I
Yeah?
really
Ooh.
like, and no offense, I really like Taste of Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a food guy, and man, I just love walking around there and getting all the different kinds of food, weird things I've never had before, stuff on a stick. I love it. So
4 different stages of bands going
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah.
it's just so much. I really missed that this summer, and it's in a
Yeah.
great spot. It's usually cooler down there because it's right by the lake. So I love Taste of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But shout out to Peanut Butter and Jam. Love that every week on Thursdays.
That's a good time, too.
Another great event.
It's a good time.
Yeah, there's no shortage of great events when we actually have them in the area.
Yeah.
What's your up north Wisconsin location?
We grew up going every summer to a town called Crivets, which is in Marinette County, just north of Green Bay, a little ways north of Green Bay, almost to the upper peninsula of Michigan.
Okay.
We wouldn't stay in the town itself, but there was this little inn right on the Peshtigo River up there that we would stay at. I think it just closed recently. It was called Schaefer Park.
Oh.
And we would
Schaefer Park.
we'd spend like a week up there every summer because my mom used to go up there when she was a kid. So
Oh, cool.
that's what I think of. Haven't been up there in a few years, but Crivets.
Crivets. I just like saying that. Crivets.
I think it's a German name. I think there's named after a town in
I
Germany.
did have a buddy who had a girlfriend from Crivets.
Yeah?
And I was like, oh boy, what does a girl from Crivets look like?
Yeah,
Yeah, she was decent though.
It's a nice small town,
Yeah.
you know.
All right. What'd you want to be when you grew up, Jake?
What was that?
What'd you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, my first job I wanted to be was an air traffic controller.
Oh.
Don't know why.
Wow.
Have no explanation for that. think I just saw one of those towers one time and asked my mom what that was, and they said, oh, that's where the air traffic controllers are. And I like being kind of like the quirky guy. I like not, whenever it's like, who's your favorite character from a book, I would pick like the lesser known characters and stuff. So like, that's why I want to be an air traffic controller. And that lasted till I was about 8, and I realized what you actually have to do and how stressful that job is. And I'm like, I'll just predict the weather. It's way easier.
Yeah, you just got thousands of lives on your line.
Right.
And yeah. All right.
You know what I wanted to be
What's that?
when they would ask me, in
Nobody asked you.
6th, 7th grade. I was like, I want to be a garbage man and a porn star. That's what I would tell them.
Yeah.
Because I'd get the benefits for working for the city, and I'd get to have as much sex as I want. It was a perfect combination, right?
I wonder if there's any garbage men that are also doing porn on the side.
Well, I mean, you get the benefits. I mean, good benefits working for the city,
It's
right?
a union job, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean,
What, being
perfect.
a porn star?
A garbage man
Oh,
slash
garbage.
porno star.
I don't know much about the porn industry. Maybe that is a union job.
You never know. I should have got into it.
All right. Real or fictional? Who do you look up to professionally?
Oh boy, that's tough.
That's tough.
I grew up watching the Weather Channel, and that was obviously, I was into that. big
Local on the
time.
7s.
Yeah, and I really liked Greg Forbes, who's their, I think he's their severe weather expert. He might not be there anymore, but he was a really smart guy, and it just always struck me how he always had an answer to everything. And then the other answer is Jim Cantori, who's their like on the spot guy, and he would always be like in the hurricane getting hit. And I vividly remember. Yeah, he was one of those like stand in the, the crazy winds. But I remember him doing a coverage of a winter storm, like a big blizzard one time. And then when the thunder snow happened, he was like freaking out, jumping up and down. And that's how you could tell he really was a true weather nerd.
Just loved what he did.
Yeah, you just can't hide it when something really exciting like that happens, and you're like, "Oh man, yeah, it actually happened." And that's one of my favorite parts.
What about what's the guy that was on WGN? Tom Skilling.
Tom Skilling,
He
yeah.
was pretty popular.
I
weather
never
guy
really
for a while.
watched him. I don't know why, and I admire him greatly. I think he does great work. He's really good at explaining things, and that's really the trick with meteorology. I mean, it's relatively easy to figure out. What you think is gonna happen, but then how do you explain that and how do you communicate? That's the really tricky part.
Yeah.
And we're not trained on that as much when we're going to weather school. It's all about learning how to derive equations. I
It's
think.
almost like you have to go to acting school.
Yeah, and so broadcast meteorology is a whole different, separate division of meteorology, and there's some schools that specialize really in broadcast meteorology, and I didn't really go to one of those. I went to the by the book, take 4 years of calculus and derive these equations, thermodynamics and quasi-geostrophic theory. It's very scientific, but luckily I'm kind of a little bit of a personable person, so I've learned over the past 7 years running my weather page of how to communicate and what people really want to know.
Cool. Now, you're also a vinyl nerd.
Yes.
Self-admitted.
Vinyl records.
All right. What's your favorite record?
Oh, boy. Are you asking the favorite one that I have on vinyl or my favorite ever?
How about both?
Okay. I think it's the same answer.
Okay, well then.
So I love all different kinds of music, and Donnie can attest to this. I like everything.
Yes.
But my first true love was hip hop, and in high school I was big into rap and hip hop. And my favorite album was then and still now is Illmatic by Nas from 1993 or 94. I think it's a perfect album.
Cool.
And it's always my favorite album. But some runners up, I go At Fillmore East by the Allman Brothers from 1971. I think that's a fantastic album, best live album I've ever heard. And I like Blue by Joni Mitchell. I think she's one of the best songwriters I've ever heard.
Great album.
Yeah, so
You borrowed that to me on
Yeah.
vinyl. Yeah. It
Yeah.
was,
It's a good little mix.
one of my faves.
Now, you're also a traveler.
Yes.
You get around. You haven't hit all the states, but you've hit
49.
Ooh, you're almost there.
I was going to go to number 50, but then COVID happened.
Which was
and
that, Hawaii?
Hawaii.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been to Alaska, and most of the states I've been to by driving. I've gone on a series of about 3 or 4 road trips since I turned 25, and it's covered most of the country. I did one out west, I did one in the southeast, and one in the northeast most recently. And then I flew to Alaska, and that's the only one I didn't drive to.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember when you were planning that trip to Hawaii, and I was telling you about when I went to Hawaii and how much you're going to love it. Then when I heard you couldn't go, I felt so bad for you because I know you wanted to go so bad, and I talked it up even more.
It was heartbreaking, but I'm still. So when we got our refunds for our tickets, I decided to get the voucher instead because I really want to go, and this is going to force me to go and not just get the money back and say something else. But I'm hoping, maybe by
2025.
I was going to say 2021, but maybe I'm being too optimistic. But I really got to get.
Were you going to go to the Big Island? Or?
Yeah, I had it all planned out. I mean, we literally had our tickets, and I was going to stay 3 nights on Maui because I'm a huge national parks fan. I love going to national parks, and the 2 national parks are on Maui and the Big Island.
Yeah, I went to the one on the Big Island.
Yeah,
I mean,
Hawaii
it was
volcanoes.
just so amazing.
And then I was going to spend 3 nights on the Big Island. But yeah, Maui has Haleakala National Park, and then the Big Island has Hawaii volcanoes.
Yeah, a bat almost flew at me when I was going through the caves. It was pretty crazy.
You know what's crazy, though, is the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park doesn't have actual lava anymore because they had a big eruption like 2 years ago or something like that. So it all erupted, and so you can't actually see the magma. That's at least what I've heard.
Oh,
so
interesting.
Maybe by the time I get there, it'll be back. Who knows?
You never know. But I'll tell you what, I fell in love with fish tacos when I was in Hawaii.
I love a good fish taco.
Oh, they have the best ones there. I know everybody, fish tacos in Hawaii, but they are actually the best fish tacos you will ever have.
That sounds so good. You look like you're ready to go to Hawaii right now.
Well, that's why I wore this shirt. I wanted to put a little pep in everybody's step today. Hey, let's not all be depressed. Bright colors, bring out a smile.
Yeah.
Now I just need a lay.
All right, Jake. Now we're going to try some trivia and see if you can beat Donnie.
Ooh, Donnie
I like trivia,
Jake.
but I'm a little nervous.
All right, well, I was going to do meteorologist trivia, but that was kind of tricky. So we're just going to do something simple. We're going to do something travel-based.
Okay.
No.
We're going to do state capitals.
Oh, God. I'm going to forewarn you. I have them all memorized.
Oh, don't worry. I've never won one of these games. So.
Well, Donnie, here's your big chance, okay?
Here we go.
So I'm going to go back and forth here. We're going to start with Jake. He's our guest. I'm going to give you the state, and you give me the capital. All right. So number 1 is Oklahoma.
You're asking me?
Yes, Jake.
Oh, well, I think it might be Oklahoma City.
You are correct. You're correct.
I lived just like 20 minutes south of there for 5 years, so I probably should know that.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to start you out with something easy, so I wanted to, it's going to get tougher here. All right, Donnie.
Shoot.
Stop banging your phone on the table.
Well, I told you I wanted to get laid.
All right, Donnie. North Carolina.
I know this one.
Okay.
I know this one.
Do you?
It's just the pressure of being live on a podcast.
We're not live. It's recorded.
Oh, okay. Hold on then. Let me think. Let me get on my phone. Nashville.
That's not even in North Carolina. So.
I think you, Raleigh, should have gotten that one.
Yeah. That's Raleigh, North Carolina.
I knew it.
All right, so it's
I knew
1-0, Jake.
Dang it.
All right, Jake. Number 2, Indiana.
It's a tough one because it shares a name.
Oh.
Indianapolis.
Very good. Wow. I think
He's
Jake
good.
might be a perfect score here, so
Oh, boy.
it's going to be tough. Okay, Donnie. Here we go.
Madison.
This one you should get here.
Okay.
Donnie, South Dakota.
Wyoming. No? Give me a hint.
It's a city in South Dakota. That's your hint. It's Pierre.
I was just going to say that.
Well,
Pierre.
you're too slow.
Oh, I didn't hear the buzzer go off. Does it get a half point?
All right, so 2-0, Jake. Number 3. All right, Jake, here we go. Now, this is a state you haven't been to.
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
So what's the capital of Hawaii?
Hawaii. It's probably the only city most people know in Hawaii. That would be Honolulu.
You were right. That's 3 for 3.
Dang, he's good.
I didn't know you knew these capitals so well. But.
Yeah. I'm a huge geography nerd.
Oh,
I don't know
boy.
if I ever told you guys
All
that.
right, Donnie, here we go. You can get this one here. Number 3, Oregon.
Oh, it's a tough one.
Portland.
At least you got a city right, so I'll give you that credit.
Largest city in Oregon.
But it is not the capital. The capital is
Salem.
wow.
Oh, wow.
Jake's like
really?
stealing
Yeah, I
yours.
wish you would have given me the tough ones.
Oh,
So Jake's got 4 now.
what, I have 3?
You have nothing.
Oh.
All right, Jake. This one's gonna be kind of an easy one here. So, but there's a lot of big cities in the state. So I'm gonna say California.
That is actually a tricky one. I'm going to say Sacramento.
You would be right.
Not LA, not San Fran, not San Jose.
He's now 5 for 4.
I was going to say Anaheim, but I would have been wrong.
That's where Disneyland is, so it basically is the capital, right?
True.
Donnie,
Jason.
Kentucky.
Oh, I know this one.
No, you don't.
No, you're
This
right,
is one
I
of the
don't.
hard ones.
I was just there.
These are just random picks. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Kentucky. The capital of Kentucky is Derby.
No.
The city of Derby.
No.
No? What is it?
Jake, can you steal it?
Yeah, it's Frankfurt.
Wow.
Well,
ding,
I
ding, ding.
Never would have guessed that.
Okay, let me tell you here.
let's hear this.
I'm a kind of a ringer on this. In 4th grade, I read this book that like gave you like mnemonic devices for every state capital. And ever since 4th grade, I've had every single state capital memorized. Country capitals, I don't know them all, but
Wow.
it's just a
Yeah, I didn't see that in your bio.
yeah. I ran out of characters. I had
All right.
vinyl
Well,
nerd.
I got
So I'm going to give Donnie these last two. Maybe
okay,
you can get
let's see.
something
Maybe
here.
I can just.
I believe
you know,
in you.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you.
Donnie, we got Pennsylvania. There's a couple big cities there.
Philadelphia.
Oh, that is a city, but that's not the capital.
Mhm.
Jake, can you steal it?
Yeah, it's Harrisburg.
You are right.
Dang it.
And one last one for Donnie. Illinois.
You
can get this one, man. Come on, Donnie. You can get this one.
Chicago.
Come on, man.
Abe Lincoln. Always hung out in.
Peoria.
Oh,
McLeod.
it's near there. I mean, downstate.
Give me another hint.
Simpsons?
Yeah.
Springfield.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey,
I should
knew
have gone.
I knew that. I knew. I was just testing you guys.
All
guys.
right.
That's all it was.
So, good job, Jake. You beat Donnie by a score of like
7-0.
7-1. You got
I don't
one.
wanna-
I
I don't want to come off as a bragging guy here.
Well, that's
so,
all right.
this
One
is all
of
good fun.
these podcasts, I'll win. I swear, one of them.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it on up here. Jake, how can people find you on the Facebook? What's the...
Yeah, I'm at Jake's Kenosha Area Weather page on Facebook. The web address is facebook.com/Kenosha Weather. I'm also on Instagram at Kenosha Weather on Instagram, so check me out there.
Cool.
You can also find his blogs at halftoit.com.
Yes, definitely. Check that
And you can
out.
contact us at ktownconnects@yahoo.com.
And also find us on Facebook and Instagram.
For sure.
Well, it was a real pleasure. Thanks for coming in and doing this, Jake.
I had a lot of fun.
Oh,
This
good.
was a good.
This was your first podcast, you said.
Yeah, my first podcast. I've loved listening to podcasts, so I've always wanted to be on one. So you check something off the bucket list
Nice.
for me.
And you listen to our show, too. So you're
Oh
kinda-
yeah, I've listened to the past couple episodes
Thank
that have
you.
come out.
That means a lot. We're trying to build it up. So I'm
You
glad,
know-
I'm glad we popped your cherry.
Yeah, we've all had a really tough week in Kenosha,
Oh.
and it's good to laugh and good to see some friendly faces, and
It's nice to kind of step away a little bit and
Right,
talk about
right.
twisters and things like that. So
yeah, I always like talking about twisters.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening, and we will see you next time on Ktown Connects.
I'm from Kenosha, I say Kenosha, that great big busy town, right in the middle